Hello YouTube, welcome back to the Average Josh podcast. It's me, Average Josh, coming back at you again with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the upcoming super fight between Anthony Joshua and Oleksandr Usyk. Before we do, I just want to give a shout out to my one subscriber. Hey, so your boy finally got one subscriber, so thank you for watching and hopefully you like this video. So, Oleksandr Usyk and Anthony Joshua have already had one previous battle where, of course, we all know that Oleksandr Usyk, using his superior boxing skill as well as his determination, was able to ink out a unanimous decision victory in the UK, Anthony Joshua's backyard. Now, we have seen Anthony Joshua lose before and then come back to win a fight similar to how he plans to do now, back when he fought the big man in Andy Ruiz and was knocked out at Barclays Arena in New York. After that, they took their talents to Dubai, where Anthony Joshua was able to outbox Andy Ruiz and win a unanimous decision victory. And so in the first fight with Oleksandr Usyk and Anthony Joshua ended up losing just because he was not really going to the body a lot. I didn't really see him using his physical attributes, which could be potentially one of his greatest skills, just the fact that he's huge. I didn't see him using that a lot. And also, I just saw him being thoroughly outclassed when it comes to just actual boxing by Oleksandr Usyk. Now, it's no knock on Anthony Joshua that he was outclassed by Oleksandr Usyk in a boxing match, because Oleksandr Usyk, to his core, is a boxer. He is a boxer to his core. He had over 300 amateur fights. He has been to the Olympics. He is an established professional. He was a undisputed cruiserweight champion. He has fought in big guys as well, like Derek Chisora. He's just really an all-around great boxer. And I would probably say, if you take away the advantages that Anthony Joshua has in athleticism and size, and the advantages that Tyson Fury have in athleticism and size, and just look them for pound, skill for skill, Oleksandr Usyk may be the most skilled and best heavyweight boxer in the world. So with that being said, coming in this next fight, I don't believe that the strategy for Anthony Joshua to be able to overcome Oleksandr Usyk shouldn't be to improve on his boxing skills. It should be to come into this fight wanting to utilize his size and physicality. Now, Anthony Joshua, he isn't the type of fighter to utilize his size and his physicality to its full potential, just because he's more of a proper boxer. Like a lot of British fighters, he has a very good jab, he has very good foot movement, but he's more of an orthodox, proper boxer, similar to how Kell Brook fights. But when it comes to being a heavyweight, you wouldn't have to look too far back into heavyweight history to see how, when you take that really great proper boxing skill set and combine it with more of an aggressive, physical American style of an approach, what you get is someone who could become a legendary fighter. And you can see that back when you look at people like Tyson Fury or Lennox Lewis. Now, Tyson Fury and Lennox Lewis, they were great boxers in their own right, even before they became more physical fighters. But as you see that when Tyson Fury got Sugar Hill Steward and then Lennox Lewis got Emmanuel Steward, they were able to elevate their game to a new level by teaching them the nuances of actually using their body and using their size as a weapon to overwhelm their opponent. They took them from just being proper boxers and showed them how to be proper bullies. And sometimes when you're fighting a really great boxer, you're not going to beat him by boxing. You're going to have to beat him by bullying him. Oleksandr Usyk, I would probably say 9 times out of 10 will beat Anthony Joshua in a boxing match. But can he beat Anthony Joshua in a fight? That hasn't been showed yet, because in their last battle, it was very much a boxing match. And what I mean by utilize his size and strength is by being more physical and being a little dirty. You saw that with Tyson Fury. When Tyson Fury initially fought Deontay Wilder and his trainer was Ben Davison, he took a more of a fight tall approach. Not necessarily fight big, but fight tall. He utilized the ring. He utilized his jab more. He utilized his footwork in order to outbox Deontay Wilder in almost all of those rounds. But Deontay Wilder was able to use the distance that he had between himself and Tyson Fury to create this to create the leverage needed for him to shoot out his very powerful right hand and drop Tyson Fury twice, which made the fight a draw in the eyes of the judges. So then after that, he gets rid of Ben Davison, and then he starts training with a trainer, Sugar Hill Steward, who is the nephew of Emmanuel Steward and who works within the Croc Gym. And when he got with Emmanuel Steward really helped him to develop the strategy to not only beat Deontay Wilder, but knock him out. And he did this by completely utilizing Tyson Fury's size. So, unlike the first fight where Tyson Fury was fighting on the back foot, utilizing the ring, really utilizing his jab, in the next fight, Tyson Fury stretched the rules of boxing to their complete limits in order to overwhelm Deontay Wilder with the size. He was leaning on him. He was putting his glove in his face. He was pushing him down. He was pressing his head into Deontay Wilder's head. He was using his offhand to push Deontay Wilder to make leverage for him to throw his hard shots. And you saw that this was a very effective method, especially in heavyweight boxing, because the one benefit that heavyweights have over any other division is the fact that they're heavyweights. They can be as heavy as they want to be. So with Anthony Joshua outweighing Oleksandr Usyk by well over 20 pounds and him being the bigger, physically stronger man, why does he not use that advantage in the ring to actually win the fight? And I think that's partially due to his training and his coaching, but then I think it has a little bit to do with him losing some of his confidence against Andy Ruiz and not necessarily wanting to be that aggressive physical guy. So now Anthony Joshua is at a crossroads where he needs a new trainer. He needs to learn a new boxing philosophy in order to add some tools, because he can't beat Oleksandr Usyk in a boxing match. So he goes out and gets a new trainer in Robert Garcia in order to help him prepare for the fight. Now, with this new trainer being Robert Garcia, I think he's a great trainer, but I don't think he's the proper trainer to teach someone as big as Anthony Joshua in the heavyweight division to properly utilize his size. His training is really good for helping someone be a better offensive fighter. He worked really well with Danny Garcia to help him counterpunch more. He works really well with someone like Mikey Garcia in order to help him really establish more of a mid-range offensive attack. But I don't think he's the best trainer when it comes to having a boxing philosophy to focus on overwhelming your opponent using your physical size and strength. For that, he would have to go get someone like Sugar Hill Steward, but he can't get him because he's working with Tyson Fury, so I doubt that anyone in his gym would work with Anthony Joshua. But there are other guys who do something who have a similar boxing philosophy, such as Derrick James. With Derrick James fighters such as Errol Spence Jr. and Jermell Charlo, you see that they're very good at fighting on the inside. They often use their bodies to push off their opponent to get leverage. They put their bodies right next to their opponent and they get the angles and the leverage to still throw really good body shots. They know how to smother their opponent's offense. They're good in the clinch at zapping their opponent's energy, especially when they're fighting a smaller fighter, to zap their opponent's energy. But they don't clinch too much, but they let go of the clinch oftentimes and then back their opponents into a favorable position, and also they're really good at utilizing their jab in order to get into the inside, to establish the favorable position, to establish the favorable angle, to establish good body position, to be able to leverage their legs and their upper body to push their opponents into a favorable position. All of these things are very important skills. They might not be as flashy as something like Tyson Fury throwing out his jab and dodging people's punches while they're on the ropes, but they're all very, very, very effective techniques, especially when you're fighting someone smaller. And you saw that a lot with Lennox Lewis when he got Emmanuel Steward. When Lennox Lewis was trained by Emmanuel Steward, you saw that Lennox Lewis became much more of a physical fighter. He wouldn't just use his beautiful jab or his nice 1-2. He was leaning on people. When he fought Mike Tyson, he leaned his body weight on him, pushed him down, and then like got him with the right hand. He would grab his opponents as well and use his physical strength to zap their energy. He would do so many things that were just fantastic. He would take his offhand, literally push his opponent into a favorable position, and then get the leverage needed to like hit a good shot. And also, when it came to time, he'd fight a little bit dirty sometimes, you know. Put people in headlocks, things like that. Tyson Fury does that too. He put Deontay Wilder in headlocks. He did all types of stuff. And then when Deontay Wilder wanted to fight back in that third fight and he made it much more competitive, he did that by also being a physical fighter. Also grabbing Tyson Fury. Also pushing Tyson Fury. Also getting good angles by taking his offhand and manipulating Tyson Fury's guard, because that's what you do when you're a big guy. You utilize as much as your size is to your advantage. But in the Oleksandr Usyk versus Anthony Joshua fight, I saw him not doing that at all. But like I said, in order to win this fight, I don't think that he's going to be able to box. He's going to have to fight Oleksandr Usyk. But I think the biggest issue with that, even if he is to take that approach, is that Oleksandr Usyk is a little bit insane. And I think that all the best heavyweights right now, and a lot of the best heavyweights in the past, are a little bit insane. Deontay Wilder is completely insane. Tyson Fury came in there in that second fight and ravaged him. He got right back into a third fight, and he went at it like he had no regard for his safety or Tyson Fury's safety or anyone else's. Tyson Fury is in the ring half the time looks like a freaking demon, running around here licking people's blood, pushing people. He fought Christian Hammer and put his hand all in his face with blood dripping down his face from a cut, and just boom, right in Christian Hammer's face. Being very physical, being not afraid to take in that type of contact, just being ready to just put it all out there in the ring for the win. And then Oleksandr Usyk, you've seen him in cruiserweight and in heavyweight with the guys he fights. Like, he's literally insane. He literally doesn't care if he gets punched. I mean, he has great defense, great defensive movement. His head is always constantly in a moving position, which that's the reason why you can't really outbox him, because Anthony Joshua's trying to jab this man, and he's in constant fluid motion, and then he gets the angle. But you've seen guys like that be beaten before by more physical guys. Like when Teofimo Lopez fought someone who's also Ukrainian. And I think those Ukrainians are making their own like really nice style of boxing, just kind of similar to the Cubans. This is a small country, but they make great boxers. But that's neither here nor there. But you saw when he fought Vasyl Lomachenko, he didn't try to outbox Vasyl Lomachenko. He went in there with a game plan to utilize his best advantage over Vasyl Lomachenko, which was his physical strength and size. When Vasyl Lomachenko would try to use that wishy-washy Ukrainian style with the beautiful head movement and his arms and his leg and his head being in constant motion along with his feet to establish that good position, and he got in there on Teofimo Lopez would literally like not try to outbox him, not try to get a favorable position by trying to get better footwork than Lomachenko. He was literally just like put his forearm out and just boom, push Lomachenko off. And then as soon as he did, he would use his quick athleticism and speed to throw a sharp shot to the body, and that was enough to keep Lomachenko at bay mostly throughout the beginning of the fight. Those hard shots to the body, not trying to hit Lomachenko in the head because he knew he didn't have the skill or the accuracy to punch Lomachenko in the head in the beginning of the fight when he's fresh, because the dude's head never stops moving. But he could get him to the body. He could get him in his hips. He could push him off and using a split second where he's a little bit off balance, get another hit to the body, get a hit to the liver. He could do that. He could clinch Lomachenko and zap his energy. And then you saw when Lomachenko became more aggressive, he was actually better at fighting Teofimo Lopez. But Teofimo Lopez kept using those things, and also he was a little bit insane. Not being afraid to get knocked out, not being afraid to fight, not being afraid to get hurt. Just go punch blow for blow with Lomachenko, even at the risk of taking sometimes 1 to 2 3-punch combinations. And that was enough to ink out the fight. Now, with all that being said, do I really think that Anthony Joshua doesn't have a chance of defeating Oleksandr Usyk? No. I think that he can defeat Oleksandr Usyk. But when you think about it, you got to think about it from Oleksandr Usyk's and Anthony Joshua's perspective. Oleksandr Usyk, like Vasyl Lomachenko, his biggest skill is his mind, his experience. So since Oleksandr Usyk already has experience with Anthony Joshua, if he comes in trying to fight a similar fight, he's going to really give Anthony Joshua a harder time than he did last time. Oleksandr Usyk and Vasyl Lomachenko are both two type of fighters who really do take the time to upload their data from their opponent and then essentially use that data in order to break their opponents down. But since Oleksandr Usyk already has experience with Anthony Joshua, he's at an advantage because he already has a lot of that data stored already within his hard drive. And he'll definitely use that to be more aggressive and to be more effective early on in the fight, and actually may end up stopping Anthony Joshua. Now, with that being said, my prediction is that the fight's going to go like this. I don't necessarily see Anthony Joshua changing his whole boxing philosophy, utilizing his new trainer, Robert Garcia, to be able to successfully learn how to utilize his size and strength. I see Anthony Joshua trying to fight similar to the last fight, except maybe more educated and more aggressive. I see him coming on and being more aggressive in the beginning, and then Oleksandr Usyk utilizing the data that he already has on him, as well as utilizing his ring IQ and his boxing experience to find those subtle openings in Anthony Joshua's armor and being able to pick him apart and being aggressive and being more aggressive early on. Also, you have to think from Oleksandr Usyk's perspective, he not only already has beat Anthony Joshua, so he has confidence that he could beat him again. He also has experience fighting him, which he's a fighter who's really, really good at using his experience when fighting a fighter when using the data that he collects when fighting a fighter to fight them more effectively. And 3, he negotiated in this fight to actually get the citizens of the Ukraine to be able to watch this fight for free. So with all of those pressures on him to perform for his people and actually give them something to be proud of and inspire them during their time of wartime, with him already being familiar with Anthony Joshua and him coming in there with confidence, I think that he'll end up winning this fight again. It isn't a matter of me thinking, does Anthony Joshua have what it takes to beat Oleksandr Usyk? Because honestly, that's not what this is about. I think if he fights the right fight, he does have a chance of beating Oleksandr Usyk. He has a great chance of beating Oleksandr Usyk. I just don't think he will fight that type of fight. But to me, it's more of an instance of, so can Anthony Joshua, not fighting his best fight, beat Oleksandr Usyk on his best day? I don't think so. And with that being said, my prediction for the fight, it's a bold one. I believe Oleksandr Usyk will win by late round stoppage. And just to clarify, to put a round on it, I'll say 11 round stoppage. And with that, I'm out. And shout out to my 1 subscriber. Thanks.